I'm sorry, so sorry, not sorry. I'm sorry, not sorry. Oops, I'm sorry. So sorry, not sorry. I'm sorry, not sorry. Oops, I'm sorry. So sorry, not sorry. I'm sorry, not sorry. So sorry. I'm sorry, not sorry.
Welcome to the Unapologetic Love Podcast. I'm Joy, and I'm excited to have you here for another episode of real, unfiltered conversations about self-love, polyamory, spirituality, and beyond. Today, I am thrilled to welcome Alana, Megan, and Kevin, collectively known as Camp Throuple, to the show. This trio has been in a polyamorous relationship for several years, and their love story is nothing short of inspiring. In today's episode, we'll dive deep into their unique relationship dynamic and discuss how they navigate the complexities of throuple love. My goal with this episode is to provide a platform for Alana, Megan, and Kevin to share their experiences, insights, and challenges with us. As we explore their love story, I hope to inspire listeners to embrace their authentic selves and recognize that there is no one-size-fits-all approach to love and relationships. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and join us as we celebrate the wonderfully messy parts of ourselves and explore what it means to thrive in throuple love. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
That was an intro. I love it. Let's go.
Thank you. I'm really excited to interview you guys. So I found you guys a while ago. I've been following you guys for a while, and I just love how you guys are just so open with your you guys don't like talk about anything deep and personal, but I love that you guys make polyamory welcoming. You guys are very fun. You guys seem very fun. You guys just make it seem like it's just so easy. So could you share with us how you met and what brought you together?
Absolutely.
Want to kick it off?
Sure. So back in 2020, so Kevin and I started dating in 2017, and I had always been bi-curious and wanted to explore that, but I didn't really know how. So in 2020, I really brought up the idea to Kev about like opening our relationship and just trying out kind of for like one night, exploring my sexuality and just confirming that for myself. So that was the initial plan. And we went on an app called 3Fun, which is where we met Megan. And we started talking. We talked for probably about a month before meeting up. And we started to get to know her and how witty she was and just how easy she was to talk to. So pretty quickly, even before meeting her, we were like, this could be something more than just one night. Like, we should see where this goes. And once we met her and started to hang out with her and just be around her, we didn't want to stop. So it very quickly transformed from like, this is just a one night, I just want to like test my sexuality, to yes, I am bi. I am crazy about this girl, and so was Kev. And we talked about it and realized that this was something that we could make into a relationship. Like, we didn't know anyone else who was poly before doing this. None of our friends were, no one around us was. So we weren't sure about it, but we realized like this was something we could do. And we thought about it of like, yes, it could be a challenge because we didn't know anyone and we didn't know what we were doing, but we just had such a good time and we just clicked really well that it made sense for us.
Mm-hmm. And like on that note too, there was a lot of kind of fears and insecurities that rose up of like, what will our friends think? What will our families think? We've never known anybody. How does this work? We haven't read any books, but we really like Meg and Meg really liked us. So we just kind of took a chance with love and dove headfirst into the deep end and like said, like, we trust ourselves. Let's see how this turns out. And it's been a little over 3 years now and we're having a blast.
Yeah.
Sure. What did you think when they first approached you?
Oh, me?
What was going through your head?
So kind of the same thing, to where I didn't really have any expectations for what was going to come out of it, but we just clicked so well that after that month of talking, I was like, I don't want to stop talking to these people. Even after meeting them once, right when they left, I was like, I want to see them again already. It was just, I don't know, just an instant connection with them.
Mm-hmm. So it's just a good fit. That's awesome. Did you discuss your individual and collective experiences with polyamory and how you identify within the polyamorous community?
How we mentioned, none of us have done this before. This is our first polyamorous. Mm-hmm. So we do identify as poly because the relationship we are in a closed poly relationship. So it is us three. We don't date outside of this.
And as we mentioned, we didn't know anyone in the poly community prior to doing this. What's funny is we actually didn't really know anyone until we went on TikTok and we started making videos about our relationship, that we found there was such an awesome out there. We met other people that are in all different kinds of relationships. So being close, we've met people who each partner dates other people. We've met people where just one partner dates swingers. There's just this huge community out there. And so I didn't even realize that we would find a community, but in joining social media, we have. So it's been cool to become a part of that.
Well, just for us to get more educated. Like, we don't know that much about it. So it's been a really cool experience.
So did you guys, like, what was the experience like, even like dating on the apps before you met? It's Megan, right? Before you met Megan, what was that like? Did you have conversations with other people, or was it just like she was the first conversation, the first person you had a conversation with, and then that was it?
So when Alana and I downloaded the app, we downloaded it together. So we would go on the same phone together, swipe together, have the same conversation. So we did it together. It wasn't separately. And when we met Meg, she was the first person we met in person. So we had conversations on the app with a few other people, but we never met them. Megan was the first and only person that we actually met in person.
And was it the same for you, Meg?
I had met other people throughout my past in this situation, but never in a relationship form like this.
All right. And could you share the challenges you face when coming out as a throuple, and how you navigate societal judgments and misunderstandings about your relationship?
Yeah. So, that was a topic. We were dating for about 9 months to a year, maybe a little after a year. After a year, before we came out to our family. We told our friends right from the beginning, Alana and I, that we met Megan. And then our friends met Megan long before our families has. But when we told our parents, Alana had a double whammy because you could tell this part.
Yeah, so as I was saying, like, I was exploring my bisexuality throughout this. Up until this point, I was straight in the eyes of my family and people around me. They had no reason to think otherwise. I'd only dated men, hadn't talked about it. So when I did have to talk to my parents, I told them that I was bi and that I was in a relationship, because they knew Kev. Like, we had been together for
3 years.
Well, at that point, 4 when I told them. So I told them that we were in this relationship, and it was scary going into that conversation. And it did take some time, like over a year, for us to get to that point where I was comfortable. I think they were both ready. Megan's family already knew. Kevin was ready sooner, but since I was having to come out with both, we wanted to wait till everyone was on the same page, and they were both really patient with me. But I come from a family where my mom's side of the family is Catholic, and we were raised Catholic. My dad is not religious, but just being raised in a Catholic household, essentially, I was very nervous. But going into it, I just told them, and I told them, I respect you guys and I love you and I want you to know who I am. Like, I don't want to be hiding my life from you guys, because, like, you're my parents and I want you to know the real me. So I think just being able to have that time to process it myself, and then to be able to tell them in that way and be like really true and like feel confident and ready. It went really well. Like, I was actually surprised. They were definitely shocked. Their jaws dropped. They were not expecting that because I went to their house on my own and just like sat down and talked to them about it. And they were shocked, but they didn't really skip a beat in how they treated me. Like, they weren't like, oh, like, we're going to need some time with this. Like, what are you doing? Like, they just kind of carried on conversation like, okay, that's not what we were expecting, but do you guys have any camping trips planned? Like, just kind of. So I actually had a really good response from my parents.
And then on the same day, I went to my family's, my mom and dad's, and told them the news. And at first it was interesting because both my family kind of had a feeling something was up. And my dad was like, we love you. And I grew up in a very religious household. I was homeschooled and was in a Christian church 5 days a week. I was being groomed to be a pastor when I was younger. Like, they were really pushing me into that direction. So when I told them that, like, it was a bit of a shock, especially to my mom. And it wasn't until the next day I got a phone call from my mom and was like, hey, I just want you to know, just because you had this conversation with us doesn't mean it's okay. And like, I'm not okay with it. And, you know, she wasn't all right with it. So it's been, I think, a little over 2 years since we told our parents. And the communication I've had with my mom is like hardly anything, just a text on my birthday. Like, yeah, just little stuff like that. But you asked how we handle it. So we recognize that this type of lifestyle and relationship is not the norm. It's not for everybody. And there's a lot of people that strong existing beliefs or ideas of what love or relationship looks like. So I was fully prepared for my parents to not accept or handle the news in a manner that was going to be accepting. So it wasn't too much of a shock to me. And our response was just like, hey, everybody is on their own individual journey. They've had their own upbringing and like, you know, just life. So we meet people with compassion and understanding that everybody has a different idea or belief of what this looks like. And we're not trying to press anything on them. We're just trying to show, hey, this is the authentic, transparent version of myself that I want my family to know. And I would rather them know the real me than an image of me or something, you know, that they think I am. And then it comes out later that that's not who they knew at all. So we just send them love. You got to be patient, and you know, getting angry and frustrated with them only harms you and the relationships you have with them. So for us, while it is a bit sad, at least on my end, that my relationship with my mom is not the same, I still have an abundance of love for her, and I'm hoping one day she can meet me where I'm at, and you know, she can meet Megan and know what an amazing human she is. But
I know I still haven't told my family either. I still haven't told my family. I've been polyamorous for 4 years, and that's a conversation I'm not ready to have. Crossing fingers, especially since with me, I come from African Americans. They have their own thought process about how they view the whole polyamorous situation. So it's definitely a scary topic to bring up to family, especially when you know that they're not going to understand it. So, could you discuss how you manage your relationship dynamics, including communication, decision making, and emotional management?
Yeah, so I mean, as for communication, I think for any polyamorous relationship, that is number one.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of different thoughts and emotions going around all the time. So we have to be really, really open with one another and how we're feeling all the time, especially in the beginning of the relationship. There was a lot that we were learning and a lot of feelings coming up that I don't think we were used to having. So yeah, we talk about just about every little thing.
And on that note too, like communication is a two-way street. It's not just you talking. You have to have listeners as well for communication to be a thing. So while it's important that everybody voices how they feel and what they're thinking, it is on the other members in the party to active listen and just like meet their partner where they're at as well, not just everybody talking over each other.
Oh yeah, there's been a lot of like patience that we've all had to have with one another and making sure that we're all like on the same page and at the same spot. So
yeah, definitely. And like conversations with 3 people, that is something that we had to navigate from the beginning, where it's like everyone gets their opportunity to speak and is heard at the same time. Because normally in a conversation one-on-one, it's just like you say something, I respond, and it's like back and forth. But with 3, it's like having to, I don't know, it's kind of like a puzzle of like, okay, well, it's like 2 people are talking, but the third person has something to say. So it's like making sure that everyone is heard, and you really have to like figure that balance, which it took a little bit of time with, since this is all of our first time in this relationship. But I think where we're at now, it's like we've kind of not slowed down our conversations, but we do just like take our time with it, where it's like making sure that everyone, if they had an opinion on the matter, said their feelings, and we listened to each other. Say decision making, like for that aspect, I think it's all equal, again, of like everyone having their feelings heard on a matter.
there's some majority rules situations that come up, you know?
Like, even for simple stuff, like trying to pick where to eat sometimes or what to watch as a movie, like things as simple as that, where it's like maybe one person wants something else, but it's like we have been searching for an hour. Like we need to just make a decision.
It would be awesome for me because I don't like making decisions. Like you guys take care of it. So, do you feel like that has assisted in your growth over the years?
Absolutely. Personal growth is very important for all of us. And this type of relationship presents a lot of opportunities to confront some of your insecurities, see areas where you may be lacking. One of the really cool benefits of this relationship, for me at least, was the active listening. Sometimes I get into, and I know a lot of other males get into this mindset where if they hear somebody talking about a problem or something they're going through, you instinctually go into like a problem solving mode. And what has been very helpful is when my partners want to just vent or talk about how they're feeling, they'll preface like, hey, right now I just need to be heard because I'm going through this and I just need to vent. And that allows me to know, okay, there's no problem to solve. Just allow your partner to talk, listen, be there for them, meet them where they're at. Because in the beginning, I would be like, well, you got to do this. Well, let's start moving. And it was more action oriented and based. So I think in terms of just listening, that this type of relationship has helped me a lot.
You have two women to listen to.
That's right.
We all know women are always right.
Right. There's three of us here right now.
I'm a majority rule.
Could you discuss some specific strategies or practices you use to address and manage jealousy or other challenging emotions that may arise in the relationship?
So I think for us, which like one of the most common questions we get asked in our relationship is like, do you get jealousy? How do you deal with jealousy? And for us, I'd say maybe in the beginning, just since this was an entirely new relationship for us, in the aspect of us all being monogamous prior to this, but this is my first relationship with a female, and this is her first actual relationship with a male. So there were those other like obstacles to go through. I think in the beginning, less so about jealousy.
Well, we had to set certain boundaries until everyone was at a certain spot. Like right in the beginning, we agreed like there would be no anything sexual between any of the two of us alone. It was all three of us until, you know what I mean? We were all comfortable with that. Because like you said in the beginning, you weren't used to having your partner be with another woman. This was your first time doing this. Like again, comes back to that patience and communication. We had to really practice that in the beginning until everyone was on the same page.
Because for me, Kevin and I had been together for 3 years. So there was one-on-one between us two. But when it came to opening the relationship, it was all three of us because I was also navigating that aspect of being with a woman for the first time, where Kevin obviously had been with females. So he was able to, it was almost just like a regular relationship. Whereas me, it was like discovering my sexuality. It was like, I was at a slower pace than him. So we wanted to make sure that we were all on that same page. And again, that goes back to them two being super patient and understanding with me, which has been it's been really awesome. But I think as for jealousy, just as a whole, that communication all the time about everything, whatever you're feeling, even if it's outside the relationship, has helped us make sure none of those feelings come up, as well as we give each other equal love. So we make sure to really prioritize our individual relationships with each other. So spending one-on-one time, or just even just at the end of the day, making sure that maybe I didn't see Megs a lot throughout the day, so she and I will snuggle and be close together. So we're getting that equal amount of love from each other.
Like if one person's at work all day long, like the other two that are at home, like when that person gets home, we, distribute our love.
Shower them.
Just to make them
That's
feel
awesome. That's so awesome. I had another question and it completely slipped my mind. I'm so mad. Hopefully I remember and come back to it. That's awesome. You guys, I swear it's the perfect love story. It is, because you guys, it's just kind of like you guys fell into it, and that's just a love story for me.
I think too, when we went into this, Alana and I had a very strong, loving relationship, and we had recognized, I think early on, that whenever you respond out of fear, a fear-based mindset, things don't always work well for you or the person that you're having those experiences with. But like somebody a lot of times gets hurt. So we tried to lead in with love. And one of the things is when we started dating Meg, there's that new relationship energy. You're excited. There's like this new feeling. You're like, ooh, ah. It was really important. Alana and I did a good job, I think, in the beginning, checking in like, hey, how are you feeling? Do you feel like maybe you're not being heard or seen enough? It was important for me too that Alana didn't see me as like just giving this new beautiful human all my energy and attention, and then she just fell by the wayside. So we did a lot of check-ins and a lot of conversations of how are you feeling right now? What's going on with you inside? Do you need more love? Do you need more attention, physical touch, anything like that? And the same thing with Megan too. She did a really good job, not just going all attention on Alana or all attention on me. I think we were able to balance. We got really lucky by going into it with love instead of like our insecurities and fears, which they definitely arose. With Alana, it's her first time being with a woman. Me being with two women, there were like a lot of self-doubt, things that came up with me that it was like, hey, can I talk to you about this? How is it? Like, am I enough? Are you doing this? Because what's going on? So on the surface, it does look like everything's good, but there's been a lot of deep conversations where a lot of heart to hearts where you put your guard down, you're exposing yourself to getting hurt, but they call it falling in love, right? You have to fall, you have to take that leap, but man, what a thrill.
But it seems like you guys were all really open to communicate, and that's the most important part about it, is that you're open to communicate, and for you guys to be like, for you guys to not have ever been in a polyamorous relationship before, that's huge that you guys were able to maneuver things the way that you did and kind of understand where each individual is coming from, because that's very important. And a lot of people who have been polyamorous for years don't even have that ability. That's awesome. That's why I say it's a love story for me, because you guys, like, even if that's the whole point of relationships, even if problems arise, are you able to work through them, and how do you work through them? Yeah. That's very, very important. The question that I had was, it came back. When you guys set the boundary that you guys were all three together, was it with the understanding that eventually you guys would be able to be with each other individually, or how did that conversation look?
I think that was the understanding when we had that conversation. And I mean, I expressed that of my own comfort and like, I'm getting used to this. I'm not quite ready. Is it okay that we hold off on doing that until a certain point? And like, we can do check-ins and you can see, am I ready? Because I didn't want them to not feel comfortable talking to me about it. So I was like, we can do check-ins and just see. But it was with the understanding that eventually we would get to that point.
Absolutely.
The vulnerability and courage too from Alana, right? I don't want that to go overlooked, of feeling a certain way and not suppressing it and then responding negatively towards Megan and I because she wanted to be perceived as strong and open. I think was really important because she did open herself up to maybe us responding in a different way of being like, oh, whatever, come on, it's not a big deal, we're on this relationship. But we really valued that, and we still value when one of us opens up, and we recognize the courage it takes to open up like that. So for us, the least we can do is listen and then meet you where you're at, because you're doing your part. So our part as partners is like meeting you where you're at.
Exactly. Or even with some women will be like, no, I don't want to do this anymore, and completely change their mind, and then it's not fair for everyone else. So that was very awesome. That she recognized that she just wasn't ready, and that it with time it could happen. Could you discuss the specific challenges you face in navigating societal norms and expectations around love and relationships, and how do you overcome them?
I think in the beginning with like the societal norms, that was something that was a little bit more prevalent. I think now we've kind of gotten to a point where we're like, people are living their own lives, we're going to live ours. We just, without being too much in people's faces, like we're just living our lives. We're not trying to shove our relationship in people's faces. But in the beginning, I think with the societal norms, like going out in public initially, because we did start this relationship right as the lockdown and pandemic started. We were indoors only
for like the first year.
Yeah. So I think we had built this relationship And then we were like, now we're going to start going out on dates, where it was like we kind of started dating indoors. And then after a year being together and having formed this relationship, we're going out. And how do we do all of us holding hands, and like the looks that we were getting? At first it was a little overwhelming, where we were like, oh man.
We also lived in Southern California, where there's 10x amount of people than compared to where we live now. So when we'd go to Disneyland, hold hands, and we'd get a lot of looks. We never had anybody come up to us and say anything, but we've seen people mumble under their breath or shake their head, people's jaws drop, people pointing. To us, we're not really big attention seekers where we're like, look at us. We're more kind of fly under the radar. We're doing our thing.
Aside from the whole TikTok.
Which,
Aside from the whole 200,000 people following us on TikTok.
We have no desire to do that, though.
Yeah.
Well, our friends were like, hey, we've never met anybody poly, and you guys look very different than what poly look like in our heads. It'd be really cool if you could go and explain your story and just be your goofy selves online and just see what happens. We're like, let's try it out. And that's the whole point, is why we're on social media. There's a ton of amazing poly people, the poly community online, and we've made a lot of really good friends. But one of the things we noticed was there was a lot of the sexual aspect that was glamorized, or the physical aspect of being in a relationship with multiple partners. But we saw them, we're like, those are all valid points. Those are all very true. But there is another side to it, the more mundane, silly side that you don't really see that much. And it's just, we're all goofy individuals. So we're like, let's just be ourselves and see what happens. And it's kind of what we've been doing.
Even our username, Camp Throuple. Throuple has a negative
connotation
behind it. And we didn't know that when we were like, oh, it's cute, whatever. And then we started getting people like, oh, throuple. And we're like, what? Why is that bad? There's just 3 of us.
We're retaking it. But the thing, too, is we didn't know anything about this when we started. We really were like, look, we're in love with each other. We don't know how this is going to turn out. Nothing lasts forever, but let's not be held back by our fears and miss out on something beautiful. Let's just try this out. And that's like, I don't really like labels or names. We're 3 people that are all in love with each other, trying to go through life, having fun, not taking ourselves too serious. We happen to be part of a community just based off of our relationship, and we've met amazing people. Even those people that are like, this is what ethical non-monogamy looks like. We've learned so much from those people. We're like, oh, damn, okay, that's good to know. Right on. For us, it's less about the labels
and the rules.
Yeah.
It's more of like, look, we're in love. I care about this person. I care about this person. If I want to be the person that is a good person, I want to keep growing. How can I be the best version of myself to help her and bring out the best version of her? And how can I bring out the best version of her by being the best version of myself? And like that's pretty much it. We have boundaries and stuff like that for us, but we don't press that on anybody. We don't believe in like any hierarchy. There's no head of a relationship. We're all in this because we love each other and we want to go through life together. And at the end of the day, you're on a rock spinning through space, right? So it's like you get this one chance, and if you want to do something that's not hurting anybody, you're not hurting yourself. Love is the best thing. It's the highest frequency. It's the coolest freaking thing. Like if you are able to be in a position where your partner all want to do this together, like, why not? Who cares? People are always going to say something about anything.
Absolutely.
So if you're happy, not hurting anybody or yourself, go for it.
I think the majority of negativity we do receive, unfortunately, is probably through social media. We just really try to lift each other up with those negative comments. We'll brush them off for the most part, honestly. In the beginning, it was a little overwhelming. We weren't ready for it. And we were like, oh, wow, people have serious judgments about this. But now as time's gone on, the positive outweighs the negative for sure. There's been so much positive feedback about people just being like, oh, you're showing a totally different side that I hadn't seen with polyamory. You've opened my eyes to something that I would have maybe never considered in the past. And I think all that positivity, we just focus on that, which really helps us ward off all the negativity.
It's been really cool to see. Sometimes people will comment and just say, I don't necessarily agree with this, but seeing you guys, you look really happy and I'm happy for you guys. Just being able to show videos of this can be normal. This can like be just a regular relationship. and just showing people just our everyday life, I think has shown them an aspect that they haven't seen. And they've been able to come around, which has been really cool to see. And just those comments.
I think too, we're all under the belief that most people, around 90% of people, are good humans. They're good. They might not know and may respond out of ignorance, but at their core, they're good people. And there's always going to be those 10%. But once you recognize there's 10%, then you're left with a choice. How am I going to respond to this 10%? Am I going to allow this to change my character and how I want to be in this world? Or can I send them love? And the best way to change the minds and hearts of people is through your actions and through love. So we're not, again, trying to force anything, but when those negative comments come our way, we could be like, that's that 10%, just let it go. Yeah. And don't hold it, because all that's going to do is weigh us down, make us feel bad. And it could be, too, that they're part of the 90% that are just having a bad day. Something could have happened in their life. They might have just found out something in their life internally, something that made them respond that way. And that we're humans. All of us, nobody responds perfectly to everything. So giving people compassion and then still assuming the best in people, I think was necessary for us, because when we first got on TikTok, one of our early videos that hit 1 million pretty quickly, we got so much hate. Where it was,
I don't know what algorithm that was, but whoa.
But it was, if we internalized that and held on to it, it could have really damaged, I think, the relationship as well as our own mental space.
For sure.
But we did a good job talking about that too. Of like, listen, these people, we don't know what's going on in their life. They could be angry. Something could have happened. Just let it go and then send love their way, because you're in control of your actions and how you respond, nothing else. And if you can be that person that shines a little bit of light on somebody that's in a dark time, who knows what that could do for that person. That's kind of how we handle it. Just send them love.
And I think a lot of people don't realize, there are more people who aren't accepting of who everyone is. And it doesn't mean that they're bad people. It's just the way that we were taught. I think the new era that we're in is more people are coming out trying to be more understanding and accepting of each other and being more inclusive. And some people are still stuck in the old ways. Unfortunately, I was there not that long ago. My son used to tell me that I was so boxed in. And the more you experience with different types of people, the more open you become. And I think that is just that simple. And some people are used to being in their circles and being used to being around the type of people that they're around. There was even a point where I wouldn't use they and them pronouns, but now I have more friends in the LGBTQ community, and I understand now from a different perspective. It's just kind of like shifting that your thought process around certain situations, because everybody doesn't have to think like you or do the same things that you do. Like that's completely okay, and just being accepting of that.
Absolutely.
And on that note too, we're programmed at an early age from what we learn from society, our family, like areas of where we grow up, religious beliefs, all that stuff. Like as we grow up, we're like, no, that's wrong, because that's what you were taught younger. And our brains too naturally try and be as lazy as they can and take shortcuts. It's so much harder to continually learn and create new pathways than it is to be like, nope, this is that, and I don't need to dissect it anymore because I already that box. Generalization, you see it in politics a lot too. You can say you're this and nobody cares about what you think, how you feel, because you're this color or you're that color. You know what I mean? It's wild.
That sucks. But the world is changing.
Yes.
And that is a good thing, in bad ways and good ways. I don't know whether to be scared or happy, but I'm excited. Could you share how you hope to change the conversation around polyamorous relationships and promote acceptance and understanding of non-traditional love structures?
Do we have a plan?
Wait, do we need a plan? Oh. Honestly, I think just kind of what we've been talking about, where this relationship, to me at least, feels very natural. It feels just as natural as any monogamous relationship I've been in. And I think we're just trying to show to people that love can take all different forms. Not that one is better than the other, but yeah, just I think we're doing an okay job.
Well said.
You guys are doing more work than you realize, even with your post, and it's awesome. I hadn't even clicked on your video yet, and I'm like, ooh, this is interesting. I was very intrigued. You guys are so fun, and you guys make it look so easy. Even talking to you guys, like, you guys say that you struggle, but it doesn't sound like a struggle. I know that you guys did. Just for me being polyamorous, I know that you guys struggled, but like, you guys make it look so easy. And I wish you guys the best of luck. And I thank you guys so much for talking with me today. Do you guys have any final thoughts for the listeners?
Well, thank you for what you're doing too.
Yeah.
This is awesome that you're out to different people and trying to spread awareness as well. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, Joy, you have this good energy too, and you're so easy to talk to. You're taking this another level too. So, like, thank you. The work you're doing, the title of your podcast, we've really enjoyed talking to you, and really appreciate the work you're doing as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Alana, Megan, and Kevin, for sharing your unique love story and insights with us. It was inspiring to hear about the beauty and challenges of being in a throuple and how you navigate societal norms and expectations. Here's some key takeaways from our conversation. Communication, trust, and emotional management are key factors in managing a throuple relationship. Polyamory can enrich lives by providing deeper connections, a sense of community, and opportunities for personal growth. Societal stigma and discrimination can be difficult to navigate, but advocating for acceptance and understanding can help promote change. I encourage our listeners to learn more about throuple love and support diversity and love in relationships. Remember, self-love is a journey, and embracing our true selves is a beautiful and fulfilling process. So stay unapologetically you, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Unapologetic Love Podcast.